Step into a world of imagination and empowerment. Welcome to Bookcast Story Channel, where every episode is a new chapter for personal growth.
Today, get ready for an intriguing exploration. We're diving into Bookcast number 2, Decoding the Matrix, Reprogramming the Mind.
Join us for an open, friendly discussion that we hope will inspire, challenge, and maybe invite some fresh perspectives on the journey within.
It really digs into that common feeling, doesn't it?
Yeah, that feeling. Every morning, maybe you have that spark, that real intention to change something, live more authentically. But then almost immediately, it's like this invisible gravity pulls you back.
You default to the same routine.
Exactly. The same paths. And the day ends up feeling, well, familiar, like a script you didn't write.
And you ask yourself, why am I stuck? Why does trying to break free just seem to snap me back?
It's incredibly frustrating.
Well, that frustration, that sense of being on a track you didn't consciously pick. That's exactly what we're going to analyze today in this deep dive. Our source material, drawing from this exploration into decoding the matrix, reprogramming the mind, offers a pretty compelling answer.
And it suggests it's not about fate or being lazy or lacking willpower.
Not at all. It argues you're operating within something it calls a matrix of thought, or in the original Vietnamese context, Ma Tran Tu Do.
Okay, Ma Tran Tu Do. Let's unpack that. A matrix of thought sounds a bit sci-fi. But you're saying this is an internal thing.
Entirely internal. Think of it like your mind's invisible default operating system.
Right.
This matrix, it's the accumulation of all your core habits, the beliefs you've inherited or just picked up along the way.
Prejudices, too.
Yes, deep-seated prejudices, standard thought patterns, those automatic emotional reactions you have.
And the matrix part is because it's installed so deeply, it runs the show before we're even consciously aware.
Precisely. It dictates choices, feelings, actions before your conscious mind. That tiny 5% even gets a look in.
So if we're only consciously aware 5% of the time, and this system is running the other 95%, we're basically on autopilot most of the time.
That's the core idea. And this is a really key distinction the source makes. This isn't some external force like in the movies.
No puppet master pulling strings from outside.
Exactly. It's the silent shadow of your own inner world. It's unconscious programming controlling you from within.
Which explains why just changing jobs or moving or forcing positive thinking often doesn't stick.
Right, because you change the scenery, but you bring the same operating system, the same invisible limitations with you. It's
the internal software that needs the update.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the external hardware or environment.
Yeah, the root issue is the programming itself. How you're fundamentally set up to perceive things and react to them. If that underlying code is whispering, I'm not worthy of success, then no amount of external achievement is ever going to feel truly satisfying.
That makes sense. Before we get into how this system gets installed, maybe this is a good moment for that self-reflection the source suggests.
Good idea.
We'd invite you, listening right now, to just honestly consider your own programming. Ask yourself, are you repeating habits you don't really believe in anymore? Have you made big decisions recently based mostly on, well, fear of what others might think, that fear of judgment?
Or do you feel deep down like you're following a life trajectory that you didn't consciously, joyfully choose for yourself?
If any of those questions hit home, then understanding where this matrix comes from, that seems like the essential next step.
Absolutely. It's the only way forward, really.
What's really striking is the idea that we aren't born this way. We're not born bound.
No, the source is quite clear on that. It emphasizes that newborns exist in a state of pure connection to the present. They have this vital curiosity, absolute self-trust. It's all there.
But that initial purity is incredibly vulnerable to the first downloads, as it were.
It is. And the process isn't sudden. It's slow, subtle, starting right from birth.
So the child's first operating system is essentially external, loaded unconsciously.
That's how the source puts it. The infant's worldview gets built entirely from the emotional language around them. You know, the subtle looks from parents, their behaviors, their reactions, especially the intense ones.
The child doesn't choose the program rationally. It's downloaded through, needing acceptance, safety.
Exactly. It's emotional necessity and just sheer proximity. There's this desperate primal need for acceptance and safety from the caregivers.
So the family naturally becomes the core programmer, installing those first layers of code. What does that code look like in practice?
Well, it's not computer code, obviously. It's more like emotional commands disguised as advice or warnings.
Okay.
Things we've all heard, probably, like, don't be too loud, you'll be trouble, or don't stand out, people will laugh at you.
Or that really damaging one, success is mostly just luck, or it's who you know.
Right. Those kinds of phrases seep deep into the subconscious.
And they create boundaries, don't they? They teach the child the difference between what's allowed and what's forbidden, prioritizing fitting in over being authentic.
Precisely. The focus shifts very quickly from being yourself to being normal or acceptable.
And once the family lays that foundation, society kind of takes over to complete the matrix update.
Yeah, that's the next stage. And what's fascinating is how consistent this societal update seems to be across different cultures.
You mean things like the school system, grading, exams, moral standards?
Exactly those things. They all tend to reinforce conformity and avoiding risk.
Excellence within the system gets rewarded.
Right. But mistakes, they're often treated not as learning opportunities, but as failures, things to be punished or ashamed of.
Obedience earns approval, maybe even love and safety, while being different often leads to isolation or correction.
And this whole system trains us to internalize some really critical limiting beliefs, like to be accepted, I have to conform to these standards.
To be safe, I need to blend in, not stick my neck out.
And crucially, that sense of I'm not enough unless I hit these specific societal milestones. You know, the degree, the right job, the marriage, the house.
It sounds less like education for individual growth and more like, well, large-scale behavioral management, creating predictable adults.
And the ultimate control mechanism, according to this source, isn't physical force. It's not handcuffs.
It's fear.
It's fear. The entire system runs on this undercurrent of anxiety about what other people think, about external approval.
So which specific fears act as the main locks in this matrix?
The source points to a few core ones. Fear of rejection, that's huge, tied to our basic need to belong. Fear of being wrong or failing in public, the fear of being different, standing out, and just that general pervasive fear of judgment from everyone, peers, bosses, even family.
And these fears are so powerful they make us willingly confine ourselves.
Yes. It leads to that metaphor of the golden cage. You create this zone of pseudo-stability, perceived safety.
And you tell yourself, well, this is just how life is. Everyone lives this way.
Exactly. You rationalize staying inside the cage because leaving feels too risky, too terrifying.
And just when we might think we're getting a handle on the older programming from family and school, the modern world hits us with a high-speed matrix update.
Oh, absolutely. Media, social platforms, they're like the matrix on steroids.
How so?
It's the daily, relentless exposure, curated images of ideal success, perfect bodies, the dream life, all over your feed.
It kind of messes with your own values, doesn't it?
Yep.
Installs these virtual, often totally unrealistic standards.
Totally. And the mechanism of control here is comparison. Constant manufactured comparison.
So the modern matrix works by just getting you to look at someone else's highlight reel.
And then immediately internalize the conclusion. I'm lacking something. I'm falling behind. I'm just not good enough.
Wow. When you trace that whole chain from family downloads through societal conformity training to the social media comparison trap, it really hits you how few of our core beliefs might have been consciously chosen.
The conditioning runs incredibly deep.
It makes you ask, doesn't it? Have you ever felt trapped by invisible rules shaping your thoughts? It's a powerful, maybe uncomfortable question, but seeing the bars is the first step to recognizing the cage.
Definitely. So, okay, we understand the matrix comes from decades of this external programming, but then comes the really big hurdle.
Yeah, why is it, even after we have those aha moments, read the book, see our limits, why do we just snap right back into the same old patterns, the same emotional rest, the same behaviors?
That is the core frustration for so many people. The moment you try to actually implement a change, the inertia, the weight of the old self just feels overwhelming.
It's that 95% problem you mentioned, the reflex overriding the conscious plan.
Absolutely. Think of the mind like that computer again, your conscious awareness. That's maybe 5% of the processing power.
Right.
The other 95%, that's the subconscious, constantly running all those invisible code commands we've been talking about.
And this creates the illusion of choice.
A powerful illusion. Say you face a decision to, take a risk or play it safe. You think you're consciously weighing pros and cons, but in reality, the source argues your subconscious has probably already chosen the path of least resistance, the old, stable, familiar way.
And the conscious mind just scrambles to justify it afterwards.
Pretty much. It becomes the marketing department for the subconscious.
I like that.
So, a new opportunity comes up, something outside your comfort zone. The subconscious code whispers, nope, not qualified, you'll fail, you'll look stupid.
And then consciously you say,
You rationalize, oh, the salary wasn't quite right, or the timing's just off, or it's too far to commute. Reasons that sound logical, but mask the underlying fear program.
Or seeing someone else succeed, the code jumps in with, they just got lucky.
Exactly. Which conveniently dismisses their effort and protects your own comfort zone. No need to feel challenged or inspired to act yourself.
So the real danger of the Matrix is how it convinces us we're making active choices, when we're mostly just reacting based on old, fear-based programming.
And these programs are masters at installing self-limitation.
Constantly reinforcing self-doubt.
Yeah, that inner voice saying, I can't handle this, or I don't really deserve that kind of peace, or I'm not worthy of that abundance. And this creates what the source calls the vicious cycle.
Okay, let's break down that cycle, because that really feels like the lock on the prison door.
It starts with those limiting beliefs. They get repeated internally, maybe externally reinforced too, until they feel like unshakable inner truth.
Like, I'm just not good at X.
Right. That truth then dictates your actions. You take small, cautious, safe steps, behavior designed to minimize risk and avoid failure.
Which naturally leads to
Mediocre results, predictable outcomes, nothing spectacular.
and those mediocre results loop back.
And confirm the original belief. See? I told you I wasn't good enough, told you it wouldn't work out. It's a perfect self-sustaining prophecy of limitation.
And as this cycle grinds down your self-belief, you stop trusting your own gut, your inner voice, and start desperately looking outside for validation, for someone else to tell you you're okay.
That loss of inner listening is a huge red flag. Your behavior starts shifting purely to please others.
Like working just for praise?
Or choosing a whole career based on how prestigious it looks, not on whether it actually fulfills you.
Or staying in relationships out of fear of being alone, even if they're draining?
Exactly. All signs that you've lost touch with your own internal compass. When that happens, the matrix effectively takes over the steering wheel.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting for me. The idea that the Matrix isn't just passive code. It actively defends itself.
Yes, it has this powerful self-defense mechanism. It acts almost like a living organism fighting for its own survival, for the status quo.
The source calls these internal antibodies.
That's the term. Think about it. You decide to start a new challenging habit, maybe exercise or meditation or writing.
Yeah.
Suddenly, your inner voice is just bombarding you with negativity. This is too hard. It won't work anyway. You failed last time. Just give up, relax, it's easier.
Or trying to leave a situation that's comfortable but toxic, like a job or relationship.
Right. The thoughts immediately pull you back. Oh, but it's stable. Nobody's perfect. Better the devil you know than the uncertainty of change.
So that intense discomfort, that fear that pops up when you try to change, it's actually a sign you're pushing against the system, a sign of progress.
Paradoxically, yes. The Matrix's prime directive isn't your happiness or growth, it's stability. Maintaining the old, known, controllable framework.
It prefers comfortable misery over the potential chaos of real growth.
Precisely. Which is why any genuine, lasting change has to involve pushing through periods of discomfort, fear, instability. You have to expect and endure the resistance.
So the crucial insight here, really, is that the biggest danger isn't being trapped. It's not knowing you're trapped. Every time you feel that fear, that urge to procrastinate, that need for external approval, that's the Matrix code running.
And awareness, just seeing it, labeling it, there's that not good enough program again. That's the absolutely essential first step. Action can only follow realization.
Living inside this matrix, this Matrantudo, it isn't like a sudden crash. It's more insidious than that.
Yeah, the source describes the consequences as being like a slow-acting toxin, a subtle poison that just gradually erodes your soul over years, over decades.
The effects aren't immediate or dramatic. They're more like tiny cracks that slowly widen until one day you wake up and realize, this life doesn't actually feel like mine.
Exactly. And the text outlines 3 really critical, often silent consequences of staying stuck in that old programming.
Okay.
The first, and maybe the most deeply damaging, is the manipulated mind, which leads directly to a profound loss of self-trust.
This is where that negative self-talk becomes almost constant background noise.
That inner critic just running wild. I always mess things up. Any success I have is just pure luck. It's only a matter of time before they find out I'm incompetent.
And these thoughts aren't objective reality checks. They're echoes of those old limiting programs being amplified.
Absolutely. And like we discussed, this just feeds that vicious loop of inferiority. Limiting thoughts, right arrow cautious behavior, right arrow mediocre results, right arrow confirmation of the limiting belief.
It's heartbreaking, really, because even when you do achieve something significant, the matrix programming immediately dismisses it. Oh, that was a fluke. Anyone could have done that.
And that robs you of the chance to build genuine self-confidence, that core feeling of, I am capable, which you need to stand tall and take bigger risks.
So if the mind is manipulated, our actions inevitably follow suit. That leads to the second major consequence, bound behavior. Basically, repeating a life you don't actually believe in anymore.
Yeah, the mind is dominated, so behavior becomes almost robotic. You just move according to external cues and expectations, not your own internal truth.
And we see this play out everywhere.
Definitely. People staying in jobs they hate, jobs that drain their life force, purely for that feeling of security, trading precious time for a paycheck and predictability.
Or maintaining relationships, friendships, family ties, romantic partners that are toxic or exhausting just because the fear of being alone or causing conflict feels worse.
And maybe the most subtle version is constantly agreeing with others. At work and social groups, just going along to get along, avoiding conflict, even when you strongly disagree internally.
Each act of compliance like that, it chips away at something vital, doesn't it? Your self-determination, your courage, your unique voice.
It really does. The goal unconsciously shifts to becoming a sort of socially approved, easily digestible version of yourself. But it's not the real you.
You're trading authenticity for perceived peace, a peace that's actually quite fragile.
And that deep internal compromise, living as a version of yourself that isn't true, leads straight to the third and perhaps most existentially painful consequence, disconnection from the core self. This results in a profound sense of loneliness, even in a crowd.
This is that feeling many successful people talk about, right? They achieve all the things society said should make you happy.
The good job, the money, the stable relationship, the house.
But there's still this recurring emptiness, this feeling that something fundamental is missing.
And the reason, the source argues, is simple but profound. These were goals dictated by the Matrix. Goals you thought you should want, not goals that came from your true, deep inner desires.
You've effectively become deaf to your own inner voice, your soul's needs.
And if you can't connect authentically with your own core self, how can you possibly have truly authentic external relationships?
You can't.
You end up hiding your real thoughts, your quirky parts, your vulnerabilities, your true ambitions, because you're afraid they won't be accepted.
Which leads to feeling deeply isolated and misunderstood, even when you're surrounded by people, even when you're playing the expected role perfectly.
It's a profound kind of loneliness.
Wow. That analysis really paints a picture of why breaking free is so critical. If the Matrix aims to wear you down slowly, manipulating your thoughts, binding your actions, disconnecting you from yourself, then defining what personal freedom truly means to you. That becomes your most vital act of resistance.
Absolutely. That clarity is the starting point for the fight back. How do you define personal freedom in your own life? Getting clear on that is essential.
Okay.
So realizing the Matrix exists, seeing its effects, that's the crucial first step. But the really empowering message here is that it's not permanent.
Right. It's just an old operating system.
Exactly. It might have served a purpose way back when for basic survival on our tribe or family, but now it's just limiting our potential. And the good news is it can be uninstalled. A new conscious program can be written.
And the source insists liberation starts inside, not by trying to change the whole world first.
That's the core message. Mastering your inner world is the key. It takes courage, persistence, and the right knowledge, but it's achievable.
Okay, so let's get practical. What are the tools for actually reprogramming that 95% subconscious autopilot? The source offers 4 core methods. The first is purposeful visualization, or hindangkochos.
Right. And the principle behind this is pretty fascinating. Your subconscious mind, the part running the show, it doesn't really differentiate between something you vividly imagine and something you actually experience.
Seriously.
It responds primarily to the frequency of the images you feed it and the intensity of the emotion you attach to those images. So if you want to change your outer reality, you have to consistently, systematically redesign your inner world first.
This isn't just casual daydreaming, then. It requires discipline.
Absolutely. The practice is specific. 5 to 10 minutes, ideally right when you wake up or just before sleep. That's when your brain waves are slower, more receptive.
And you visualize what exactly?
Your desired life, not vaguely, but in vivid detail. What does that successful project feel like? What does that healthy relationship look like? How does that sense of freedom manifest? Use all your senses. And crucially, feel the emotions of already having it. Feel the joy, the peace, the confidence now.
Wow. And the warning here is pretty stark.
It is. Those who don't actively, purposefully visualize the future they want are simply automatically pulled back into the default settings, the old, obsolete patterns of the past.
If you're not writing a new program, the old one runs by default.
You got it. You can't leave that space blank for the subconscious.
Okay, method number 2. Positive affirmation. Kung Tichkake. Using language deliberately to rewrite the code.
Yes, but again, it has to be done with real intention. This isn't just repeating empty phrases.
Right.
You choose maybe 3 to 5 specific strong statements, and they need to be framed as present reality, not future wishes. Think firm commands to your subconscious.
Like, I am worthy of an abundant, meaningful life, and I attract opportunities easily.
Or, I possess the inner strength and wisdom to overcome any challenge with confidence and grace. Something powerful and specific to what you want to reprogram.
And the key is repetition with emotion, not just chanting like a robot.
Exactly. Repeat them morning and evening. Stand tall, breathe deeply, really feel the conviction behind the words. That emotion, that belief is the energy source. It's what tells your brain this is a real instruction, not just noise. It starts rewiring the neural pathways.
Okay. Method 3 is gratitude, long BO. The source calls this a high-frequency energetic state.
It does. Think of it as activating your inner immune system against the matrix's negativity.
How so?
When you operate from a place of deep, genuine gratitude, you tap into a feeling of inner wholeness, of sufficiency. I have enough. I'm enough. This high-frequency state naturally neutralizes the low-frequency fear and lack that the matrix thrives on.
So the practice is more than just listing things.
Much more. Daily, yes, write down at least 3 things. But the crucial part is to pause and really feel the appreciation in your heart, in your body. Don't just make a mental list.
And this shifts your focus.
Away from scarcity, away from what's missing, away from fear, which are the matrix's main tools, and towards abundance, sufficiency, love. A truly grateful person doesn't need constant external validation or comparison. They feel their worth internally. That makes them pretty much immune to the matrix's manipulations.
That's powerful. Okay, finally, method 4. Emotional anchoring, Neo-Kamzuk. This sounds like an in-the-moment defense tool.
It is. It's a very practical technique often used in things like NLP. It's about creating a specific trigger to instantly shift your emotional state when you're under pressure.
How does it work?
You choose a simple, maybe discrete physical gesture, like touching your thumb and index finger together or placing a hand gently on your heart or your stomach. Then you deliberately pair that gesture repeatedly with a strong, positive emotional state that you conjure up intentionally, maybe deep calm or unwavering confidence or profound peace. You practice the pairing until the gesture automatically brings up the feeling.
So when stress hits a difficult meeting, public speaking nerves, that negative inner voice starting up,
you immediately consciously perform your anchor gesture. And because of the conditioning, that positive state gets reactivated almost instantly, overriding or neutralizing the negative stress response.
like an internal calm down button.
Pretty much. It's a way to regain control, to choose your response instead of having the old matrix fear code hijack you automatically. Professionals use variations of this all the time.
Visualization, affirmation, gratitude, anchoring. That sounds like a comprehensive toolkit for rebuilding from the inside out.
It provides the blueprint, yes. But the next step is actually building the house.
Right, because just knowing about these 4 tools, just understanding them intellectually, that's only the beginning.
The source material is really clear on this. Awareness alone isn't enough to dismantle decades of deep-seated programming.
The real change happens in the transition from knowing to doing, consistently. Disciplined action.
Exactly. This isn't a quick fix or a weekend workshop transformation. It's more like tending a garden. Change isn't one big flash of enlightenment. It's the result of countless small, purposeful actions day after day.
So integrating these methods into a daily lifestyle, a structured routine, is absolutely essential.
Paramount. The process is broken down into sort of 3 key time slots during the day, starting right at the beginning.
The morning ritual. This seems critical because the mind is supposedly more receptive then.
Yes, the subconscious is more open. Brain waves are slower. So first, 5 to 10 minutes. Visualization. And focus not just on huge life goals, but visualize the day ahead going well.
Like specific things.
Yeah, maybe see yourself handling that challenging meeting calmly, having a focused work session, interacting joyfully with someone. Visualize successfully navigating the small hurdles you anticipate for that day.
Okay, that makes it more manageable. Then follow that immediately with affirmations.
Yes, 3 to 5 minutes. And do it physically. Stand up straight, Breathe deeply, speak your chosen affirmations out loud, or at least with strong internal voice, and crucially, feel the emotion. Command your brain with conviction. You're setting the intention, priming your neural pathways for the day.
Got it. Then comes the midday tune-up. This is for handling the inevitable pressures that pop up during the day.
Exactly. When stress spikes, when you feel that old anxiety or anger rising, basically, the matrix trying to pull you back into a reactive state, that's when you deploy the emotional anchoring.
For just a few minutes.
1 to 3 minutes is often enough. Perform your anchor gesture, hand on fist, touch fingers, say your word like peace or calm internally. The goal is to neutralize that negative spike quickly before it spirals. It's not about judging the feeling, just managing the state.
And integrate a mini gratitude check here, too.
Yes, just quickly jot down or think of one small thing from the morning you genuinely appreciated. Maybe the taste of your coffee, a moment of quiet focus, a kind word from someone. It instantly shifts your focus back from the problem to something positive, countering the matrix's negativity bias.
Okay, morning programming, midday stabilization,
Yeah.
then the evening reset. This sounds important for closing the day.
Hugely important, especially before sleep when the subconscious does a lot of processing. First, dedicate time to gratitude again. Write down at least 3 different things you are grateful for throughout the entire day.
This closes that positive energy loop.
Yes, and it signals to your subconscious, this is the state I value, find more of this. It trains your brain to look for the good.
And then finish with the long-term visualization again.
Right, about 5 minutes before you drift off. This is prime time for subconscious access. Visualize your bigger long-term future. See yourself living that vision, feeling the confidence, the joy, the freedom as if it's already real. You're planting those powerful seeds deep into the fertile ground of your subconscious.
This whole daily structure makes sense. But it also requires ongoing adjustment, right? It's not set in stone.
Absolutely not. That's where the weekly review comes in. End of each week, you need to sit down and be radically honest with yourself.
Asking what?
Which tools worked best this week? Where did I slip up? In which situations did the old matrix patterns win out and pull me back? What specific negative behavior do I need to focus on replacing next week? And importantly, what moments am I genuinely proud of? Where did I make a conscious choice?
And the goal isn't instant perfection. It's small, steady improvement.
Exactly. The source suggests focusing on improving just one element of your practice or replacing one negative reaction by maybe just 1% each week. It's that slow, steady, accountable momentum that creates real, lasting structural change, not the crash and burn cycles of most self-help fads.
And persistence is everything.
It's the measure of your commitment, really. Skipping a day, that's going to happen. It's not failure. The real victory is getting back to the practice the very next day without beating yourself up. Honesty and perseverance are key.
So, escaping the matrix isn't really about blowing up your current life or circumstances. It's more about living within them, but with a completely different level of consciousness.
That's it exactly. The sources talk about it as a kind of rebirth, a gradual remembering or reclaiming of your true unprogrammed self. The core shift isn't fixing your life on the outside, it's reclaiming your identity on the inside.
And the signs that you're making progress, that this reborn self is emerging. They aren't necessarily big, flashy, external things.
Not usually. They're more subtle internal shifts in your attitude, your motivations, your chosen behaviors. The conscious person starts acting from a place of inner sufficiency and choice, rather than being constantly pushed around by fear or external demands.
You can start to see these signs, can't you? In yourself or others, like choosing to be silent in a meeting.
Not because you're afraid to speak or don't know the answer, but out of wisdom, choosing to observe, appreciating the stillness before responding.
Or choosing to step back from a conflict.
Not because you feel incompetent or scared, but as a conscious, strategic choice. Maybe to de-escalate, or because the fight isn't worth your energy.
And choosing simplicity in your possessions, your lifestyle.
Not because you lack the things to show off, but because you have a deep inner sufficiency. You know your worth isn't tied to material display. You're returning to your core self, that part of you that was never actually manipulated, the part born with self-trust.
The really powerful realization here is that you stop being just the product of your past hurts or other people's expectations.
You become the deliberate, conscious author of your own mental and emotional program. And that new awareness, once you truly receive it and start acting on it, it's like a seed. It can't just vanish. It can only grow.
It's an empowering place to reach.
Definitely. And as we wrap up this deep dive, the source material leaves us with a really potent, maybe even provocative final thought. It hints at the next level of this work.
Beyond the 4 reprogramming methods.
Yes. Those methods are fantastic for reprogramming the mindset, kind of the surface layer of the software. But the source insists that true, deep, lasting liberation requires digging even deeper, a more courageous process.
It mentions something about 46 reasons why a person remains stuck and needing a surgical dissection of karma. That sounds intense.
It does. It speaks to confronting and actually transforming those really deep-seated, often painful energetic patterns. The source uses the term taki, which translates roughly to negative energies or toxic energetic imprints. These are like ancient scripts that have been running our lives on a much deeper level.
So this next stage isn't just gentle visualization.
Apparently not. It's described more as a confrontation. It requires, they say, intense, unyielding courage because it means facing your deepest shadows, your biggest weaknesses, and the pain associated with them head on.
Moving from just being aware of the matrix to actively performing the deep self-examination needed to cut those old roots.
Exactly. Using practical, transformative methods, which aren't fully detailed here but are hinted at, to excise those weaknesses. It's presented as the most challenging path, but the one that leads directly to the light of genuine, unshakable freedom. Something to consider for the ongoing journey.
That wraps up today's conversation on Bookcast Story Show. We're Sam and Lily, and we truly appreciate you joining us for this exploration.
If this discussion sparked new ideas or reflections for you, please support us by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. That way, you won't miss future chapters in our journey together.
Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, take care and keep exploring.